We're now going to introduce the concept of the zero of a polynomial function. Let f be some polynomial function and r be some arbitrary real number, such that when we plug r into that polynomial function, it has an output that's 0. If that's the case, then r is what we call a real zero of that polynomial function. Let's state that again, only slightly differently. The x value, r, again some arbitrary real number, is considered to be a zero of a polynomial function f at x if and only if f evaluated at that real number has an output that is 0. And I want to overemphasize that it is the x value that is considered to be a zero of f when this happens. There are several consequences that arise from this definition, and we'll start by just stating again that r is a real zero of the polynomial. Then, if that's true, r must also be an x-intercept of the graph. Here is an example of a polynomial function's graph that's smooth and continuous. If we have an x-intercept at the real number r, the y-coordinate must be 0. Well, as we know, on any function, the y-coordinate would be obtained when we plug r into the function. So f at r, or the y-coordinate that corresponds to the real value r, must be 0. So if f at r is equal to 0, then there's an x-intercept at that ordered pair. Another consequence is to say that x minus r must be a factor of f. So let's talk about this by showing a quick example. Let's say we have a polynomial function written in its factored form, and we wanted to find the x-intercepts of this polynomial. We would be plugging in 0 for y and solving for x. And we would get 3 x values that solve this equation. X is equal to -1, x is equal to 2, and x is equal to -3. All 3 of these x values are where those x-intercepts would occur, but they're also considered to be zeros of the polynomial f, because they cause the output y value to be 0, which is part of that definition. But these zeros only cause the output to be 0 because of these factors of f. -1 turned out to be a 0 because x plus 1 was a factor. +2 turned out to be 0 because x minus 2 was a factor. -3 turned out to be a 0 because x plus 3 was a factor. So let's declare this consequence one more time, but saying it slightly differently. If x is equal to r is a 0 of a polynomial, then x minus r must have been a factor of f. Our last consequence that we'll point to, again we are assuming that x is equal to r is a 0 of the polynomial function f, which means that if we were to set that polynomial equal to 0 and solve for x, then that r value would be a solution to that equation. Let's look at an example to process that definition. We're looking for a polynomial function with degree 3, and we're told that it has 3 real zeros, -2, 3, and 5. We want to find this polynomial. Well, what we just said is that if x is equal to r is a 0, then x minus r must be a factor of that polynomial. In other words, we can get a factor of our polynomial by looking at x minus the 0. So our polynomial f at x, let's start with the 0, -2. If -2 is a 0, then x minus -2 must have been a factor. Of course, we prefer to write minus -2 as plus 2, so we get the factor x plus 2 because of the fact that -2 was a 0. Now let's look at the 0, +3. If x is equal to 3 is a 0, then x minus that 0 must have been a factor. And finally, the 0, +5. If x is equal to 5 is a 0, then x minus 5 must have been a factor. Now this is one possibility for this polynomial. It is a degree 3 polynomial, which satisfies this criteria. We're to leave it in factor form, so this will be our final answer.